Well, well, well.
Well,
Welcome. We're here
welcome.
once again
Yes,
on a Friday afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody.
happy Friday.
Welcome to Ensight Podcast. It's
Yes,
me, Pastor B. It's her, Bishop BK Webb.
bless you.
Welcome to the podcast, y'all.
Yes,
Welcome in this room. We talking about
yes,
some hot topics, shedding light on dark subjects.
yes, sir.
Ensight Podcast to all our listeners, to subscribers,
Yes,
supporters, those of you that are watching, we appreciate y'all. Thank
Yes,
y'all
we
so
do.
much for tuning in. Happy Friday to you. Happy Friday to you.
happy
Listen,
Friday.
we've been having some great hot topics, Bishop,
Yes,
and just so many things that are going on every day in the world.
yes,
And we try to shed light on these subjects. And last week we touched on financial security
mm-hmm.
and so much happening in the finance world.
Yes,
And we could talk about that for weeks on end.
yes,
Banks closing, stores shutting down, people losing
layoffs.
jobs.
Yes, yes,
It's just financial security. People are in a state of shock in a lot of cases for
yes,
some of these major companies that are going under. People just in a state of shock. There's so
yes,
much uncertainty, so much going on, so much happening. So we covered that on last week. But before financial security, we talked for a few weeks about all of these mass shootings that have happened,
mm-hmm.
and the effects of the mass shootings. The statistics that we gave out, even when we went over how many mass shootings there have been in the year 2023 alone in the U.S. It is just horrific. It is horrific. And
Horrific.
This week alone, we were just prompted to go back to this subject somewhat because of the horrific things that we have heard in the
This
last
week,
number of
just
days.
this week.
Yes, in the last number of days.
Mm-hmm.
It's just terrible. It's just terrible. It is just terrible. And Bishop, today with our hot topic, we're gonna delve into that. But we want to look at it from a little bit of a different perspective, not just the focus on mass shootings and generally speaking, mass shootings, but we want to look at it on a broader scale, a broader scope. And we want to discuss this hot topic. So before I get into the hot topic, Bishop, how you feeling on this Friday afternoon?
I'm doing good, Pastor B. I'm trying to figure out, am I in winter, spring, summer, or fall? I don't know. I don't know. These past couple of weeks, I don't know.
Yeah.
Early in the week, we were 40 and 50. Now
Right.
the latter end of the week, we 70. I'm trying to figure out, Pastor B, whether I'm going to keep my air, I keep it just neutral, no air, no heat, but to cut on my heat.
Yeah, well, I'm with you, Bishop. I'm with you. I was confused myself and trying to figure out, I had put my scarves up a few weeks ago.
Right.
And I said, man, maybe I got to pull my scarves back out.
Yeah.
To wrap my neck up. Because I typically leave out early in the morning, and where it's colder.
It's
and
cold.
I'm telling you, it's been cold all week long.
It's cold. It's cold.
It's been cold all week long.
Yes.
So, God is in control.
Yes, He is. Yes, He is.
Yeah, he is in control, and clearly, we have no control over this weather. He is in control. So we're gonna delve into this hot topic today, Bishop.
All right, Pastor.
And regardless of the temperature, inside or outside,
it's hot here.
The topic is hot. It's hot.
It's hot.
It's hot. So the hot topic for today, and listen, I want all of you all, make sure you share this podcast. Let people know that we're here. Subscribe
Yes.
to the YouTube channel, DK Web Ministries. We
Yes.
thank you for your support, that we can continue to bring this forth. But our hot topic for today uh, is again, it's a broader scope
Yeah.
of what we discussed a few weeks back. But we want to talk about the horrors of humanity.
Yes.
Just some horrible things
Horrible.
that are happening um, amongst society. The society at large, amongst human beings. Just
Yes.
horrors of humanity, things that are happening amongst human beings, and and
Yes.
and when you think about it, Bishop, you're talking about humanity. You know,
Yes.
when you think about the animal kingdom, so to if you would,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, if humanity mixes with the animal kingdom, then you would expect some horrific things to happen, right?
Right.
You would expect some horrific accidents.
Yes.
If humans step over into that particular world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
this is human on human
Yeah.
horror.
Yeah.
I mean, it's these things that are happening. I mean, it's almost literally like it's out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's insane. It makes you angry. It's frustrating. I mean, all of the above. It's
Yeah.
just. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just terrible, Bishop. It's
It's
just
awful.
terrible.
It's
You
awful.
know, and one of the situations that we heard about this past week was the one in, I believe it was in Texas,
In Texas.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe it was 5 people. Was it 5 people or 6 people?
It was 5 people.
Um, uh, uh,
5
that
killed.
5 that were killed
8 in the
uh,
house.
in
5
in
killed.
Texas in their
Mhm.
own home,
In
and
their
some
home.
of them escaped from the house,
Yeah.
and some of them were unable to escape. Just horrible. I mean, what would possess one
Yeah.
to do such a thing? And when we get into, because we talked about even gun violence and things like that, we talked about how people have these rights and stuff like that, and and
Mm-hmm.
and and I believe that gunman, it was reported that he had a AR-15, an assault rifle.
Yeah.
you know um
Mm-hmm.
and studies show what that particular weapon does even to the human body.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about just horrific, just horrific,
Yes.
horrors of humanity, where people, as human beings, we should be loving one another. We should be
Yes.
supporting each other, right? And even if we disagree, because that will happen, because we don't all think exactly the same on
That's
every
right.
single thing.
That's right.
But even when we disagree, why can't we do that without it ending up being a horrific situation?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we want to delve into this, Bishop. These horrors of humanity. And again, we got a couple of situations that have happened just this week. In the first one being the situation with the man that killed those 5, and I believe there were even children involved in that. I mean, just unbelievably
Mm-hmm.
horrific. I mean, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Bishop, what is going on?
Well, I mean, first of all, Pastor B, we know one of the hugest issues in the world today. In the Bible, again, we are not a Christian show, but we are Christ centered because we believe what the word says. And I think the issue is the love of many has waxed cold. The
Wow,
Bible says it would happen. And
wow,
so love has waxed cold and hatred is taking over. Hatred.
yeah,
I remember some time ago my bishop said it needs to be a new diagnosis in the DSM-5, and that's hatred.
wow,
Hatred. You have to just be hateful
right.
because you can't love humanity and love
Hmm.
people and keep doing such horrific acts.
Yes,
In Texas, I mean, it is just heartbreaking. A plethora of emotions will just invade you, and envelop you when you think about this situation, Pastor B, because it could have been any of us. When you're a homeowner, you live in a neighborhood that's generally quiet, and the neighbor then decides to go outside with their AR-15 and just
Yeah.
continue to shoot these rounds. Well,
Yeah.
it's not unreasonable to expect one of your neighbors to say, okay, well, baby, can you stop shooting so much? Because apparently he even did it when it's later, and the people next door just asked him because they said their infant was trying to sleep.
Mm.
So it's not unreasonable to ask you, can you just calm it down?
Yeah.
Uh, but
Yeah.
you decide to go out in your yard and begin to shoot with an
Hmm.
assault rifle. And
Hmm.
so, I mean, it's horrific when you think about being
Hmm.
humane, Pastor B. You have to
Yes.
be hateful, because who would expect, and I'm assuming this is an assumption,
Hmm.
since his neighbors didn't call 911, they must have felt comfortable enough with him to ask him, can you tone it down? Can you stop shooting so much? Which
Hmm.
wasn't unreasonable, but they must have been friendly neighbors. That's what I'm assuming, because if I wasn't friendly, I would call 911 right away and say that
Yes.
someone is out here shooting. Get them there.
Yes. Yes.
But they must have felt comfortable enough. And this is not a racist statement, and neither, I'm sorry, is it to point out so much ethnicities. But in terms of Pastor B, they said that it's more of a Hispanic neighborhood. So a
Uh-huh.
lot of times we know they feel more comfortable with one another.
Right.
So that's probably why they didn't call the police, and feeling comfortable enough to ask you, can you tone it down? Because both families were Hispanic.
Right.
But who would expect you, if I ask you to do that? Then you knock on my door. I'm thinking maybe it's an aftermath of me asking you, can you tone it down? So I
Right.
open the door. I don't expect when I open the door, you just open fire on there were 8 people in the house, an
Right.
infant, little children, and the child that was killed was 9. And according to the authorities and all of the various media outlets that reported on it, the only reason those other 2 kids didn't get killed is because the mothers laid over their babies, shielded their babies, just like a mother,
Wow.
shielded their babies, threw covers over their babies, and then laid over their babies, and they took the bullets. Uh,
Wow.
and my thing is, Pastor B, and I think it was many years ago. I think it was Paris Glendenning. Don't quote me, but I think
Hmm.
it was Paris years ago. I remember in Maryland, he got such harsh feedback for saying we need to do something about all these illegal immigrants. It was 11 million at the time,
Hmm.
undocumented.
Hmm.
They said, I bring that up to say, this shooter, Pastor B, they said that he was undocumented and he had been arrested like 4 times. He had been
Wow.
arrested and put out of the United States, come back in, get arrested again, go out, get arrested again. So,
Wow. I didn't know that.
yeah, that's what they reported. They said it was
Wow.
4 times. They said it was 4 times. They said he was undocumented and he had been arrested 4 times. So how did he keep
Mm,
getting
mm,
back in this country?
mm, mm, mm.
How did he keep getting back in
Wow.
the country?
Wow.
And a person now that you all have let back in this country, and then you wonder why some people, and it's wrong because every man stands on his own. I don't believe in putting everybody in the same barrel, Pastor B. But I
Right.
mean, it makes you think why you all keep letting undocumented people come in this country. Not only is he working and living undocumented and living in a home, but now you're letting him go out in his yard and shoot AR-15s. That look at this tragedy. Look at this horror that he's committed against his neighbors. And so it's just horrific, Pastor B, all the way
Mm, mm,
around.
mm.
It's horrific just
Yep.
because somebody asked you to tone down the shooting. And this week they caught him, Pastor B. I was praying they catch him. I was
Yeah.
praying they catch him. I think it was
Before he hurt somebody else.
before he hurt somebody else, because
Yeah.
it's obvious you're unhinged. You're
Yeah.
unhinged. It's obvious there is a diagnosis in the DSM for you that you haven't been treated for,
Yeah.
because you have massive anger, and you
Yeah.
definitely, you might have dissociative behavior and a whole lot of other things I could think off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But I was praying that he would get caught because they said, and this was lets you know, Pastor B, they talking about, well, he was drinking. Okay, well, if you drinking and you can't control your alcohol, then
Yeah.
stay in the house. You
Yeah.
definitely don't need to be outside shooting an AR-15 and you're drinking and you can be belligerent. And
Yeah.
I understand how that is. I understand many of us are not exempt. Everybody got a cousin or uncle, somebody in their family that drinks and
Yeah.
can't handle it and can't
Yep.
handle the alcohol.
Yep.
But for him to do that, Pastor B, it was wrong on so many fronts.
Mm-hmm.
And this week they were saying, they reported that the way they found him, and thank God for whoever sent the tip, because I know some people just didn't believe in that. So it lets you know, no, you got enough sense now that you're sober to go hide.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it lets you know the brevity of what you did, because now
Absolutely.
you're going to hide and hiding.
Absolutely.
And they said they found the Pastor B. Somebody gave him a tip. So I would lock up the people that even was hiding him. But I think this week they did. They locked up some of his family as well, because
Right.
they found him hiding in the laundry room closet with clothes over top of him. I mean, really?
Wow.
Really? You think the
Wow.
FBI, the ATF, and everybody else can't find you? Don't you know
Right.
they hunt down people like dogs?
Right. Right.
you know,
They're
uh,
gonna find you. They're gonna find you.
they gonna find you. You can have
Yep.
as many clothes as you want to over you, and in the laundry room, they're gonna find you. Their dog gonna sniff you out. They're gonna find you.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
now you have
Absolutely.
an undocumented immigrant who have committed a mass murder. It's horrific.
Mm, mm, mm,
It is
mm.
horrific. And the
Yeah.
family that has suffered this, 5 family members,
Yeah.
5, Pastor B. And I
Yeah.
read this week that one of the mothers that was killed, it was her significant other. I don't know if they were married,
Mm-hmm.
but he's the one that had the infant child, and the boy that was killed, 9. And it said this week, Pastor B, she told him, jump
Mm-hmm.
out the window so you can stay alive, so at least one of us will stay alive to raise our children. That's just heartbreaking.
Mm, 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 mm,
That's just
mm. I mean, just the thought of that.
the thought, Pastor B.
Yeah. Just.
Just the
I mean,
thought.
you know how Bishop we say, when people are like terminally ill and stuff like that, you hear people use the term looking death in the face. But that is really looking death in the face.
It's looking death in the face very courageously. The
Yeah.
mother was a hero for
Yeah.
telling him to jump out that window and save, yourself, so our children will have at least one of us alive. That was heroic.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That was
Absolutely.
heroic. So I mean, because her bedroom, Pastor B, Ensight, her bedroom
Mhm.
became a battlefield.
Wow.
In
Wow.
the halls of humanity, her bedroom became a
Mm.
battlefield. They found him in the bedroom.
Wow.
And so,
Wow.
Pastor B, whoever turned him in, they had an $80,000 reward, and said they
Yep.
had over
Yep.
200 and had over 250,000 law enforcement personnel, FBI, ATF, local police,
Yeah.
everybody.
They put such a huge focus on it. And I heard this some days back. They were saying how, they had upped the ante because they really wanted to catch this guy. You
Yeah,
know, they really wanted to catch this guy. And I
yeah.
mean,
So
thank
somebody
God they
$80,000 richer,
yeah,
but hopefully
yeah.
the neighborhood is
But
safer.
but but thank God they got him.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's just some of these things, again, like we talked about weeks ago when we talked about the elementary school shooting down
yes,
there in Texas, in Uvalde. I
yes.
mean, it's just the unthinkable,
It's
you
the
know?
unthinkable, Pastor B, and it makes you. And of course, I said to you privately, and I'm now saying it publicly, that even sometime during the month, we're going to commit a couple podcasts to mental health, because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. But Pastor B, we got to start being more aware. And when you see even your neighbors and it look like they're a little off, leave them
Yeah,
alone.
yeah.
Don't
And,
say
and,
anything to them.
but also, Bishop, I think we talked about this even before. You
Yeah,
know, say something.
say something. We did. We talked
I
about it.
mean,
Say
say
something.
something. Reach out to, your local authorities or
Yes,
somebody.
say something.
I mean, you see something going on and you know it ain't right. Ain't no you. It may not
You
be.
know
No,
it's not right.
you know
You
something is
know,
off.
you know something is off. Say
You know
something.
something is off. You need to say something.
Yeah,
And
because some people
and
don't want to get treated.
yeah, and I think Bishop, that's in addition to the shootings, right? In
Hmm.
addition to the shootings and the different things, and we got a couple of other situations we're gonna bring up. But in addition to these things, I think another horror of humanity is the lack thereof. You know, it's people just they're inhumane. I mean,
They're inhumane.
the things that they do. It's like, wait a minute, you are a human being, you are a person, with blood flowing through your veins.
Yeah,
Like you are a natural person.
yeah,
You're not some superpower or
yeah.
some wild animal out in the, no, you're a person, you're human.
You're a human being whose
You're
life can't be
human.
brought back if you take it.
It's gone, and I
Gone.
think that's part of the horrors. It's not just the actions, but the lack of humanity is just it's
The lack of humanity. Like I said,
man.
Pastor B, hate. The love of many
Yes,
has waxed cold.
yeah,
The Bible is
yeah,
true. Because when you love people, even people that you can see are sick, you want them to get some help. You may not say
yeah,
something to them, but like you said, then report it. I think they're a little sick and maybe they need some help because sometimes, and it's unfortunate, Pastor B, but even our system has failed many of these mental health individuals. People are suffering from mental health disorders.
yeah,
Our system has failed them because you can't get the help.
yeah.
You can't get the help, and a lot of times they tell you, well, this individual doesn't say they want to stay, then we can't keep them.
Hmm.
Well, if they're
Hmm.
sick in their mind, why would they tell you, yes, go ahead and keep me?
Well, so you know what, Bishop? Let me interject something on that, right? Because
Go ahead.
you bring up a great point. Um, so yes, of course, that's a lot of times that's the issue, right? People basically they don't they don't seek help, or they don't want help. They say they're
Right.
good, so on and so forth. Um, but like, what do you do? I mean, in that situation, and you're on the outside looking in, but the person won't listen to you. I mean, what do you do?
Well, I mean, of course, Pastor B, in certain jurisdictions, certain cities, certain states, you're always subjected to local laws. I know in DC, being a mental health professional, you have a FD. We allude to a certain uh form or wording that we will use, and that means that person has been picked up off the street against their will because they've been found that they can be homicidal, suicidal, a threat to themselves as well as everybody else.
Right.
And it's very apparent that they are in a state of mania.
Okay.
But when you see somebody, even like your neighbor or something, okay, if this is what I would do. If I see my neighbor and it looks like I see my neighbor walking around talking to themselves and all of that, then I do have recourse. I can go to if it's a rental office because you're in an apartment. I would go to the rental office and say, I don't know how you all handle it, but I'm coming, and it's not a complaint; it's an issue of concern. I'm
Yeah.
concerned for my neighbor. I see my neighbor walking around talking to themselves. I don't know if eventually they may hurt themselves or somebody else. I don't know what your laws are in the leasing agreement or whatever, but I think you need to keep an eye on this, or I think you need to address this. Because most of the time, Pastor B, when you go to lease a place or something, we're not talking about people who are homeless, because many times these people, like this gentleman that killed those five, he living in a house. I don't know if
Yeah.
they owned it or they rented it. But
Right.
you most of the time when you put it on paperwork, possibly you got next of kin or somebody, emergency contacts or whatever. And so, you try to find back channels. You try to find back channels when you see these people all the time. The
Right.
unfortunate part, Pastor B, too, about mental health illness is sometimes people are mentally ill and you can't see it. Most of the time, though, if you are a mental health professional, you can just see it. You can see it. And when
Yeah.
people begin to talk, you know something is wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not to say that you can get everyone saved, but if we just be more alert and we be more sensitive to mental health illness as opposed to judging people,
Right.
then we could be a help as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could
Absolutely.
be a help
Absolutely.
as well. So
And
alert someone.
and I personally think, Bishop, just to kind of piggyback on what you just said, I mean, who better to help a person than somebody that know them?
Then somebody that know them, and somebody that know them, even when they reject help from you, you can call somebody and say, look, I know you all don't just, put people in a program now, but can you give me some? And this is the sad part. A lot of families, parents, Pastor B has done this, begged the
Mhm.
system to help them, told
Yep.
the system something wrong with their child. Can you please give them some help? And the
Mhm.
system let them fall through the cracks. And we got
Absolutely.
trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of debt, and we can't find a way to fix this mental health crisis, because
Yes.
a lot of times too, Pastor B, it's veterans
Yeah.
coming home
Yeah.
with severe PTSD,
Yep. Yep.
coming home with severe issues. Why we can't fix this crisis and dedicate money to this mental health illness? And we knew it happened even during COVID-19. Pastor B, some people are still traumatized by COVID-19.
Yeah.
They've
That's
lost so many family members. They've
that's
lost
that's the truth,
jobs.
Bishop. That is so true.
Yes, it's not over.
Hmm.
And people are still suffering. 20,
Yep.
21, and 22, 3 years, Pastor B, people still have lost their businesses, trying to get back on their feet. With this family, 8 people, which a lot of times Hispanics culturally are known to have 10, 15 people in the house. So it's not abnormal. But the house that he goes into, there's 8 living there. How many was living in his house? I mean, people still traumatized by COVID. It could have been their situation. You just don't know. But the system has failed us,
Yep.
because
Yep.
during COVID-19, they knew mental health issues exacerbated, just exponentially. They knew
Absolutely.
it. So why
Absolutely.
don't we put more money into that? All the people who are still grieving, Pastor B, people who never got to see their loved ones before they died, people who never even got to do that final goodbye, people who
Yeah.
never had the opportunity, Pastor B, to even view a body. Their family members were in the hospital. They couldn't go see them. The phones, they couldn't talk to them. And then because COVID was the culprit of their demise, some people, Pastor B, because, funeral homes got so overwhelmed, some of those people, they took them straight from the hospital and took them to the graveyard.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's traumatic.
I
And
mean,
it's
the
grievous.
height of COVID was rough.
It was rough.
Hmm.
Just dropping bodies in graves. It was rough. That is traumatic. People are still grieving. People are on the edge. So we failed them. We failed them. And this gentleman, like I said, I'm outraged because I want to know, why is he here 4 times? You all are
Yeah.
putting out he comes back.
I mean that. I mean, I'm telling you, I didn't hear that.
That's what I read this
I mean,
week.
that's unexplainable.
That's what I read this week.
That type of thing right there. You can't even explain that. You can't even
Can't
explain
explain it.
a reason why, because somebody didn't do their due diligence, or he was working with somebody under the table. I mean,
He's working
something
with
is wrong with
somebody.
that picture.
Yeah,
Something's
he's
wrong.
probably working with somebody on the table that he can get in 4 times.
Yeah, something is
Yeah.
wrong with that picture.
Yeah. And so they probably were hiding him even in the closet, whoever was assisting him. Why would you let them in your house and assist him and hide him, and knowing he just demolished the family, just killed all these family members? Again, Pastor B, back to the love of many is wax cold. Because you couldn't have knocked on my door and I hid you. Absolutely not. And I would have told you in your face, I'm calling the police right now. You can be mad with me for life.
Right. Right.
Because
right.
you can get mad with me if I tell you, why don't you stop doing something, go get the AR-15 and shoot in here too. So why am I hide you?
Bishop, I think,
it's all aiding and abetting.
It's sad. And that's why, like we said, we're talking about horrors of humanity. And it's not just the actions of these shooters, but it's other things as well. And
yes, and the
you know,
mental health is certainly a piece of it, Pastor B.
absolutely,
You know what?
absolutely, absolutely.
And it's a great segue to one of the other cases we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm,
That
mm-hmm,
this week, when this young man, he was only 30, Pastor B. He was only
mm-hmm,
30, and he got killed on the subway.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And when I looked at New York City, when I looked at that, they said he had a history of mental health illness. Pastor
mm,
B, I was in tears when I saw that man on the
mm.
floor on the train because they showed the video.
Yep,
And
yep.
to see how that man was holding and chokeholding him. Now that man was 24. He's a young veteran, so he must just came home because you're barely old enough to serve. So if he
Right,
went in there at 20 and now you're 24, you went in at 19, whatever, you're a
right.
veteran. You know that chokehold can kill people.
Oh yeah. He when he did it, he already knew that was going to destabilize the man. He already knew all of that. You
Already knew
know,
all that.
and if you wanted to destabilize him, you wanted to, you wanted to just subdue him, you did it for 10, 20 seconds, just to get his attention or something like that. Okay, cool. But I think it was somewhere around 2 to 3 minutes or something like that. I mean,
That's what they said. Two
like,
two
you know,
minutes and 55 seconds. They say the whole ordeal lasted 15 minutes. But my thing is, Pastor B, again, mental health illness. When he gets on the train, they said, and the gentleman who recorded it happens to be a journalist that
oh
was on
wow,
the train. See, you
okay,
never know who in your midst.
yeah,
The
yeah,
person was a journalist.
yeah.
And it
I mean,
said
because
the whole,
they definitely had good video, whoever it was.
they had a great video because obviously it
Yeah,
must started taping as soon as it started because
yeah,
he even, he gave his eyewitness report and
uh
said as
huh.
soon as the man entered the train, the man said, "I'm hungry, I'm tired, I want some food, I feel like giving up, I don't care if I die." That right there, immediately, you
Mm,
know that person is mental.
yes,
Nobody's getting on a train with everybody else on the train announcing to you my plight in life unless you
yeah,
are mentally ill.
yeah, yeah,
Now you all
yeah,
can see that. So
yeah.
why don't you call 911, call the conductor, push the train emergency button and say, look, somebody has gotten on here and they're hollering, screaming, saying they're hungry, they're tired, they don't care if they live or die, homicidal or suicidal.
Mm-hmm,
That
mm-hmm.
is, I mean, come on, Pastor B.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think Bishop. I mean, it's you're unpacking a lot here, and you one thing you said I wanted to kind of piggyback on and go back to earlier. You talked about the lack of love,
Yeah,
and talking about the lack of love, within humanity.
yeah.
People just they don't love one another. They
No,
they they don't love
no.
their
And they
brother as
don't
they love
care.
themselves.
And they don't care.
And they don't
But
care.
somebody get on the train, I'm on the train, they get on and say, I don't have no food. I ain't got nothing to drink. I'm tired. I don't care if I die. Okay, he's on the train and he's ranting and he's raving. He's not bothering anybody. He didn't
Right,
touch anybody. He didn't assault anybody. Well,
right,
if I'm on the train, Pastor B, and I got my lunch bag because I love humanity. Okay? I love humans. It doesn't matter. And my mother treated us, because my mother taught us you treat everybody like they're VIP. I don't care if they're homeless and their feet black. You treat them like they're VIP. So,
absolutely.
if I got leftover lunch, if I'm sitting on the train, Pastor me, even with food in a bag, because New York, a lot of those people commute even to the grocery store. And
Yeah,
I hear you say that. I'm going to say, sir, can you come here? Sit down a minute. I have something. Can I offer you something to eat? Come
yeah,
on.
yeah. That's the part. That's the part, Bishop, that got me. I'm like, when you think about the humanity part of it, like, why didn't anyone offer him something, you know,
Exactly.
or even if it took 2, 3 guys to try to contain him, but just to kind of talk to him until the authorities got there. So like what makes you think it's okay
It's
as a
not
as
okay, Pastor B.
yeah, it's
It's not
not,
okay.
you
And it
know
is unreasonable. Let me say this. It just angers me because, I've been through this a lot, even with family members. You can't put people on the ground, kneeling on people, choking people, and then telling people to be still. They're not going to be still. Their first inclination is going to try to move because you are causing them discomfort. So
Absolutely.
it's another way to do it, and
Absolutely.
I've been around family members and I was standing there in the witness and like eight police, two of them standing around and six on the one person, two on each arm, two on each hand, one at the head, one in the back. And I said, what in the world? The person don't have a gun or anything. What in the world? What are y'all doing? Why is it taking all of you? And then telling the person to be still. So you got this man on the ground on the train.
Yeah.
You all are choking him, grabbing his hands and telling him to be still?
Yeah, that's that, I don't even.
You're causing people discomfort, and now you want to come back and you want to try to justify what
Yes.
you've done.
Yes.
The issue again, Pastor B, Ensight moment, a lot of it's happening because the love of many has waxed cold.
Yes.
Because it could have been a different outcome.
Yeah.
If this man had sat down or someone said, I got some food, sir. Here you are. You can have mine.
Yeah.
And God had blessed me to buy more food. I go buy more food.
That's it.
But to accost you, put you on the ground like I'm the police of the train.
I mean, these were, he was retired. Well, the guy that did the choking was retired military, but these were not sworn officers at all.
Well, he wasn't retired military. They say he was a veteran, and he's only 24.
Well, okay, so he's not retired. He's just
because retired, you got to do 20 years or more. So he served and he got out.
Right, former military. So
exactly,
these are just regular civilians.
Regular civilians.
And where is your humanity? Like, I mean,
where is it?
Even if someone's getting on your nerves, the fact
where
that
is it?
You killed this man, and then Bishop, I don't know if you saw this, but that guy was I saw a clip. He actually used to do Michael Jackson impersonations.
No, I didn't see that.
This guy used to do. There are clips out there. I guess when they found out who it was and what his name was and stuff like that, and then they showed some old clips of him on the same streets of New York dancing in full costume, and I mean, like, doing the Michael Jackson dances.
Okay.
He was an impersonator. So what happened to this young man, right?
What happened?
At one point, he was out there. He was dressing up. He was, he probably was making money that way, because impersonators, they are really professional impersonators. They do that for a living.
Yeah.
And it appears that, at least the videos I saw, it looked like he was kind of doing it for a living type of thing.
I'm gonna have to look at that. Yeah.
So what happened to him? Your humanity. When you go out and you see someone in a particular state.
Well, we could just surmise, Pastor B, if he on the streets of New York City and being an impersonator, well, COVID-19 cut all that out, right? Because for 2 years we didn't even come out. So he couldn't make money like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's very true. So, now that, restrictions have passed and
now he's in a state of mental health issues and spiral out of control.
Yeah, things are opening up. Yeah,
but why you got to choke him?
He needs help.
Why
are you killing him?
Why are you killing him?
I
read the reporter reported, oh, well, we didn't think he was dying. Well, all of you got enough common sense to know that if you choke somebody, you see it in the movies, you see it everywhere else. Even the way the man was choking him, Pastor B, you see that all over. Look, they do that even in karate, and tell you this how you can accost. Come on now, all of us, we not that ignorant. We know if you put your arms around somebody's neck and keep choking them tight, it's called asphyxiation. You're choking them to death.
Yep. And that's what he did. And that's what he
did. And they let him out this week and with no charges. Now, I don't know. Since then, earlier in the week, they did. And so they said they were investigating to see, if they're going to charge. Why you got to choke somebody to death because they get on the train making noise saying they hungry and they ain't got nothing to drink and they don't care if they die.
It's terrible.
And especially with you being a vet. As a vet, you know what PTSD looks like. you know what mental health illness looks like. Especially a Marine.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
you're just gonna choke him to death.
yeah.
You
It's
24. You
insane.
24. He 30.
It's insane. It's
It's
insane, Bishop.
insane,
Listen.
Pastor
We
B.
got to take a quick commercial break.
All right.
Um, we're gonna come right back with this hot topic. I'm telling
Yes.
you. Listen. I mean, again, the things that we have seen and witnessed even this very week. Um,
Yes.
in regards to horrific situations that have happened,
Yes.
horrors in humanity. We got to be praying.
Yes.
We have definitely got to be praying. In
Yes.
addition to in addition to being prayerful, you got to be watchful. I mean, you have to watch your back. You know what I mean? You got to be intentional about things. So we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We're gonna come right back, amen, with Bishop D.K. Webb as we continue with this hot topic. All right, horrors in humanity. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Welcome back to Ensight Podcast. Listen, it's me, Pastor B. We're here with the Ensight Podcast on this Friday afternoon. To all of our subscribers, to everyone that has been supporting us, we thank you. We appreciate you so much. That's her, Bishop D.K. Webb, and we appreciate your support of this podcast. We appreciate your support.
Yes.
And feel free to like, comment, share. Feel free to do so as we delve
Yes.
into this hot topic. And the hot topic today has really been driven, as always, by current events.
Yes.
And we're talking about horrors of humanity,
Yes.
and this situation that happened with the young man on the subway. And Bishop was just talking about how he was. You said he was 24, right, Bishop?
The one who did it, the vet, he was
No, no,
24.
no.
The
The
victim
victim,
was 30. The victim was
the
30.
victim was 30. Okay, and
Victim was 30.
the veteran,
Perpetrator, the
the
vet,
perpetrator, yeah,
24.
he was 24 years old.
Uh-huh.
Um, so just horrific, horrible situations that really expose the lack of humanity that we have in our society.
Yes. Yes.
Or exposes some of the dark sides of
And,
humanity.
yes. And to me, Pastor B, as we said, the insight moment, hate drives people to
Yeah.
do horrific things. Hate is what drives people to do horrific things, because I believe if we treated people more humanely,
Mm-hmm.
if we treated people more humanely, the hatred in our hearts wouldn't drive us to do such horrific things.
Yes.
Now, you think with this young man on the train, had people been just a little more humane,
Yeah.
uh, just a little more sensitive and more humane, it
Mm-hmm.
may have ended up differently. Which is a great segue, Pastor B, even with the other incident. I know we got to move here. Our time is getting away from us.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about humanity, and even with this mental health and maybe Mental Health Awareness Month, Pastor B, they say that the shooting also early in the week, the mass shooting there in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
where one person died initially.
Right.
But what was heartbreaking for me, absolutely heartbreaking, was they said he went to this Midtown Atlanta medical facility. And this young man, they said, Pastor B, was seeking help.
Wow.
He was trying to get new treatment. I guess he was
Wow.
trying to find a different provider or whatever. Now, he was only 24. He's trying to find a different
Wow.
provider. They captured him. He's trying to find a different provider. But what broke my heart, and I'm just going to surmise, I don't know if she knew or no, but his mother was with him, Pastor B.
Mm.
It just tells me, being a mother, that she took her son and went with her son because she want her son
To get some help.
obviously to
Yeah.
get some help, because
Yeah.
obviously wherever he was getting help, they felt it wasn't working or whatever. He's going here, he's trying to seek new treatment, so that's reaching out, right? He's trying to get help.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think in your mind, when this initially happened this week, was
Right.
he being treated inhumanely
Yeah.
that drove him to do something so horrific, that he came to a place that he hates you and what you represent and how you're treating him, that he resorts to, I'm gonna pull my weapon out and I'm just gonna start shooting you all?
Well, Bishop, it's of course, it's exactly what you're talking about in regards to the mental health piece of it.
Yeah.
There's some sort of disconnect there mentally.
Yes.
There's some kind of disconnect mentally, and like I said, with the young man, being an impersonator at one point, something happened.
Something happened.
And whatever happened affected him mentally.
Drove him over the
Obviously
edge.
it affected him physically, and maybe he had nowhere to go and stuff like that. Okay, but we're talking about how it affected him mentally.
Absolutely.
And
And
the
if he's
thing,
homeless and don't have no insurance and you're not giving him what he needs, I mean, nobody can say what the full scope of any situation is unless you're intricately involved in it. But, it makes us think, Pastor B, as humans, as humanity, and
yes.
us being more humane to people,
Mm-hmm.
just, it's like now, I used to, Pastor B, give every time my car would pull up the light and all these people started asking for money. I would give the people money. I stopped that. And the Lord stopped me from doing that, because one time, one lady, now they use their children and everything. They out there and got the children and everything. Now, I don't believe in that. If you hungry, why you got to bring your children out here? Go to the government and let the government, I pay taxes. My taxes going to give you some SNAP and some WIC or something. You got children, you're automatically available for WIC.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But what I do, if they say they're hungry, Pastor B, sometimes if I'm led, I buy some food.
Yeah.
And pull up to them and give them a bag of food. Here you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here you are. So that's part of being humane, because we can make assessments. And if you aren't, professionally competent, and many times you need to be culturally competent, then you won't even understand what's going on.
Right.
But, if we were more humane about things, with this young man on the train, it's an indicator something is wrong. As soon as he gets on the train, he's shouting, he's screaming. And I know in New York, they said, they've had some unfortunate things that happen on New York City subway system in the past year or so. Several killings and stabbings. But he don't have a knife. He doesn't have a gun. He doesn't have anything. Right. Why you lay him on the ground and choke him? And then the young man in Atlanta, he goes to this clinic, this facility, with his mom, and all the media outlets reported it that way. We don't believe everything media puts out there, but generally when they're going on a manhunt, they usually get the story pretty accurately because they're looking for the people. But he goes there with his mom. He's 24 years old. Mm-hmm. And Pastor B, when you think about human development, our brains are not fully developed. It's scientifically proven until we're 25 years old.
Yes.
So he's 24 years old. He's coming there seeking help from another facility because, again, apparently the one he's in is not giving him the treatment he knows he needs. Because apparently, Pastor B, he must know he needs help, right?
He knows he needs help.
If he's going out, then he knows he needs help.
He knows he needs help.
He knows he needs help. And as most mothers, and I think mothers, and in tribute to our upcoming Mother's Day, I think it's a bad rap that people give mothers and son relationships by saying, oh, he a mama's boy, he a mama's boy. Well, anybody that births somebody is not going to stand back, whether it's a girl or a boy. They aren't going to stand back, Pastor B, and see their child. Even animals instinctively take care of their own, right?
Exactly.
You're not going to stand back and see your own in harm's way, and everybody tell me, oh, you need to just let him be a man. You need to. you got a child got mental health issues as a parent, you're gonna be there
And
for
that's
your child.
exact, and that's naturally going to happen.
It's gonna happen, especially when you know the trauma that your
Mm-hmm.
child has incurred. A
Yep.
lot of times people don't know. So it tells me that this mother, she goes there with her son. It tells me that she is in agreement. Wherever he was going, he's not getting the help. Come on, son, let's find another place. Let's take you to someplace else and see if we can get you to help. Because unfortunately, Pastor B, and I know it, I know it, I know it to be fact, even as a
Uh-huh.
mental health professional, when you are people of color, especially, and you don't have any money, I don't know if they had money, or you don't have any insurance, it's real, real tough.
Real hard.
It's
It's,
real, real tough.
it's real hard, and that's definitely, Bishop, another piece of it.
Yes.
The economic part of it, where
Yes.
you got some folks don't have insurance, so some of them are undiagnosed. They haven't even diagnosed because they never sought medical attention, right?
That's
Um,
right.
some of them have been diagnosed, but they don't have the money that they need to consistently buy or
Right.
purchase their
Because
medications.
many insurances limits. They put limits, Pastor
Exactly.
B,
Exactly. So they don't have enough to
on your
cover
treatment.
to get their medication.
Mm-hmm.
Then they got the mental part of it, where people saying this about them, saying that about them. Some people don't want to be around them. Some people do, but it's all that they're dealing with. And before you know it, like I said with this young man, who knows what happened, but you got to the point where he was out there begging.
Then it's back to a lack of humanity. It's a lack
Yeah,
of being humane.
yeah.
It's a
He out
lack of
he out there begging.
sensitivity. It's a
Yes,
lack of sensitivity. Because
and
when
it's
you
just it's
understand what
terrible.
people have been through and what people have come through, you'll be a little more compassionate.
Yes,
We need to be
yes,
a little more
absolutely.
compassionate because we
Because
don't know
Bishop,
why.
then you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes.
Empathetic, empathetic.
Exactly, exactly. And
You don't have to
these
give me
things,
sympathy, but at least empathize.
yeah,
Put yourself in my shoes.
indeed, 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 Bishop. And these mass shootings. I wanted to read this one more, Bishop. I was looking at this. One more I had heard about that just
Okay.
happened also a few days ago. Uh, was the where is it here? The one in Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, this just happened a few days ago as well. 7 people were killed.
Jesus.
In Oklahoma, 7 people found dead at a home. Um, a registered sex offender, his wife, uh, her 3 teenage children, and 2 of their friends.
Jesus.
7 people.
7.
Wiped out the family. It's so this was on Monday, the 1st of May.
Wow.
On Tuesday, uh, we had the next one with the 5 people that were killed.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wednesday, the Atlanta shooting. You
Wow.
know, just it's
Where
just
where did the subway that happened on Tuesday as well?
I believe the subway was. I believe that was Tuesday. I believe that
Yeah.
was Tuesday.
So it's been a
Um,
horrific week.
I believe that was Tuesday. Of course, it didn't classify as mass
Right, right,
shooting,
right.
but
But
yeah,
just the
I
horror.
believe,
Just
but
the
it
horror
certainly, yeah,
of
it certainly
humanity.
fits the horror, the horror and the
Yeah, of
horrific nature,
humanity. Yeah,
and the fact.
yeah,
Even the nature of it, that you would squeeze the life out of, like literally squeeze the life out of someone.
Jesus.
It's sad, Bishop.
It's
It
very
hurts my
sad.
heart. It hurts
It's
my
very
heart.
sad.
When you see some of these situations happen, you
Yes.
know, just in the span of a week, just a few of them that we've read off that we've heard about.
Yeah,
That's over 10 people in one week.
yeah,
From just horrific situations.
yeah,
Um, and a few of these situations we see, like you say, the young man, he was actually, his mother was actually trying to get him some help.
yeah, yeah,
Trying to get him some help.
yeah.
So I want to say this before we close, Bishop. Um, if if you need help, or if you know someone you feel needs help, please speak up. Please open your mouth. Please, if you don't know all the prevention numbers and all that stuff to call, just call 911.
Yeah.
Just call 911. They will
Yeah.
get you some help, or they will direct you in the right place.
Yeah.
Who you can call to
Yeah.
get help for your friend, your loved one, your neighbor, whomever.
Yeah.
We can't keep losing people to these senseless acts of violence, just because somebody got upset.
Yes.
Somebody got upset, something triggered them, something hit that trigger point, and they decide, well, I'm gonna grab my gun and just go shoot people. We we
That's
we have
right.
we have got to be we have got to be praying,
We
you
got
know,
to. We
and
got to.
we have got to understand that practically, in addition to us praying, in the spirit, but practical, you got to be smart as well.
Yeah. You got to
You
be
got to be
smart.
smart as well. And when you
Yeah.
see those things and you recognize those things, you
Yeah.
have to speak up. You
You
have
got
to.
to.
There are too many horrors going on
You
in
got to.
humanity. There are too many horrific, horrible, I mean, just absolutely terrible situations that have happened, um, and continue to happen. So, Bishop, before we close, I just wanted to say that I want people to be able to reach out and to speak up. Don't listen. The moment you don't speak up, the moment you're fearful to say something, think
Yes.
about the fact that next moment could be someone's life.
It could be someone's life,
It could be
including
someone's life,
yours.
even the
Including
life,
yours.
even the life of a child,
Including yours.
including yours. You never
Include,
know. I mean,
including yours.
shootings and horrors of humanity, they're going on everywhere. It's happening on the subways, it's happening on the street, it's happening in schools, so you're not exempt, from suffering a
Yeah.
horrific situation, as we live this life. So,
No,
Bishop,
you're
I'm,
not.
I'm gonna let you, go, Bishop. So, we have a few minutes before we close, but
All right.
just want everyone to know, again, speak up.
Yes.
Open your
And
mouth and speak up.
yes, and in this last 90 seconds that we have, so we were looking up the number, Pastor B, and it should be on the screen shortly. That number, I knew they had a crisis number, is dial 311. Instead of 911, you can dial, you don't dial 911, dial 311. So you have two options. You can dial 911 or you can dial 311. 311, of course, it diverts it from the policeman's line.
Right.
And so we want to say to you, beloved, that we need to be more compassionate because
Yeah.
sometimes we can help abate some of this horrors of humanity. Because sometimes we are the problem. We are the problem. We add to people's hatred and people's anger by the way we respond to them, by the way we treat them, by the way we look at them. And when you love people, though, when you love people, and it should be coming on the screen shortly, dial 311 or
Yeah.
911. When
Yes.
you love people, just be kind to people. Consider
Yes.
yourself. Be compassionate. Treat it as if it's your family member. And
Yes.
then, maybe we can help with some of these horrors of humanity because sometimes we can help change somebody's mind, Pastor B, and they will know that everybody's not hateful. Everybody's not mean. Some people are compassionate. Some people do love you regardless of who you are, what you are. And we're here to help you. And we may not can
Yes.
give you everything you
Yes.
need, but in an acute situation like that, because that was an acute situation. Okay,
Yeah.
well, let me give you some food. I can give you some food. Okay, so
Hmm.
dial 911. There it is on the screen, or 311. You
Yes.
can do that, okay? And tell somebody else they can do that. And you see somebody on the street, don't agitate people who are already angry. Don't agitate people when you can see they already have an issue. That helps to exacerbate their anxiety. And we
Yes.
don't want to do that. We don't know if they got a gun on them. Just like we alluded to the young man in Atlanta this week, what alluded to his anxiety that exacerbated it so and just resorted in him pulling out a weapon. So we want you to be mindful of that, beloved. And we're praying against all the horrors of humanity. We got some news coming up later in our other podcast to share with you. Some of you in our area, join us in our Damascus Road prayer cry because we're coming out to pray about these horrors of humanity. God bless you, beloved. We love you. And have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. And remember, May is Mental Health Awareness. God bless you, Pastor B.
Yes, God bless you, Bishop. Listen, have a great weekend. Thank y'all so much for joining us. It's me, Pastor B. We'll see y'all on next week. Be safe at all times. Amen. Be in prayer. Watch yourself. Be smart. Love each other. Love wins. Never forget it. It's love that wins. God bless you.
God bless you.